Welcome to, in my opinion, 4 Cyberdimension Neptunia 4 Goddesses Online. Our good old goddesses and leaders of game industry have been selected to test the beta for a new MMO called, what else? 4 Goddesses Online. They find out that the main plot of the game is an evil dark lord that's trying to be resurrected, and they must collect 4 sacred treasures and take down 2 sub-bosses before facing the big baddie. Though while playing, you kind of find out that not everything is going to the game's plan, and someone is trying to ruin all the fun. So it's up to our heroes and their little sisters who also join the quest to stop this party pooper and finish their game. You won't find a deep tale here. Like most of the games in the series, it's all played up for laughs with your gaming and anime jokes. I found myself chuckling here and there during the game as there are some pretty funny moments. The interaction and dialogue between the characters is also fun and entertaining. You'll run into some familiar faces besides the playable leads. There's Iffy, Kampa, Tamsoft, and some others to round out the cast, and if you're new to the series, the game does an okay job of giving you a quick rundown of the character's personality and a little background. So it's not an awful jumping point if you're interested in kangaroo hopping into Neptune's world. One of the other things the series is known for is fan service, but no worries, there's nothing really extreme, just some panty shot stuff and the like. While the game does take place in an MMO world, it doesn't really play like one. It's more like an action JRPG. By halfway through the game, you will have 12 characters to choose from, though I will say I'm a little disappointed with the roster as there is no other company characters to use. It's just the 4 goddesses, their power-up forms, and their sisters. Each character is a certain class, of which some like Blonde focusing on healing and some magic, Uni being a distance character shooting her guns away, or being up close and personal like Rom. While some feel a little different from one another, it's not night and day. Just some of them have exclusive skills, and it's more of a question of which characters are your favorite. At least it was to me. So while you're attacking away, you do have skills that can be equipped to 2 different sets. Each set can hold 4 skills and can be switched on the fly, making things more manageable. When you reach a certain level with a character, new skills will start to come in. You can also place 5 items that you can use on the fly as well. You're allowed to switch between characters whenever you like, which is great, though a bit cumbersome while in the field, as you gotta go through menus and there's no pausing, so you're open to attack. I got annoyed with this at first, but it became second nature after a bit. If any ally falls and you don't have an item to bring them back, you can switch out that character, which I found to be a nice touch, instead of staying with a corpse on your team. I will have to mention that only a 4-man team gets XP, so any one of the benches are left to hang dry. There is a skill called Awakening you receive when you reach a certain point in the story. You just need to attack to fill your meter and you can activate it to raise your attack and defense. Later on, you get an upgrade to Awakening that lets you deal out a super attack. That's nice to look at, but also does major damage. The combat is very simple at the end of the day. It's just hacking, shooting, or magicking the enemy till it stops moving. There is no real depth to the combos, and the only thing you want to keep in mind is your health and the enemy break meter, as when it breaks, they become stung and take massive damage. Though even with the simple combat, I still find myself having fun, but I can easily see some thinking, wow, this is boring. Also, there is no real punishment for death, so you won't be losing money or XP if you fall in battle. You do have a little hub town called Wishel, where you're allowed to relax and take care of some stuff. First of all, this is where you get to pick out your quest from the guild. The guild lets you take on as many quests as you want at any time, which is great since you don't have to run back and forth just to turn in a completed one. These are usually gather X item, kill X enemy, or boss. The quest description does a good job telling you where to go to find said enemy or item, so you won't be running around in circles confused. While you're on the field doing these quests, if you don't want to run through the whole map again, you don't have to, since there are multiple points on the map that let you return to town. The more you do the quest, the higher your guild rank goes, allowing you to take on tougher quests. You're allowed to play any of the quests as much as you want if you want certain rewards again. It's also important to do these as they progress the story and they open up sub-events. The sub-events are not missions themselves, but are just nice little extra scenes with characters, either going through the day themselves or interacting with someone else, and while it does give a little background to some of the new faces, most of it is played up for laughs and is rather entertaining. While there are mainly set in the hub world, there are some that pop up in the dungeons. You don't have to worry about missing any of them since, well, they're non-missable. Some of these may also lead to some of the fan service scenes I mentioned. Oh yeah. There's a church in Wishel in which you can save, check out some of the CG pictures you unlock through events, and most importantly, pray. Prayers are little bonuses you receive while you're in the mini dungeons. These usually are things like get more strength, health, and experience. This can be helpful if you want to power level some characters, and if a boss is a bit tougher than usual. The majority of prayers aren't free, so be ready to cough up some dough. They only activate once you're in a dungeon, and when you leave a dungeon, they're gone. So if you accidentally leave the town with a prayer, like I've done it many times, but want to go back in town, don't worry since you still have it as long as you don't go into a dungeon. With all the cash you'll be bringing in, there are many shops to spend it at. There's of course the item shop to get all your healing and other type of items you need. You have the Chaos Factory, which is basically your armor and weapon store. There's a gem store in which you can buy gems that you can equip to the characters to increase stats like defense, HP, and how much XP they receive. You can visit the blacksmith where you use item drops from the dungeons, monsters, and treasure chests you find to increase the usefulness of your weapon and armor. You can also buy some new threads and accessories to add your own creative look to the characters. Some of these are also found in dungeons. You don't have to worry about the stats with these as they are purely cosmetic. Also, some of these shops gain inventory when you complete more quests. If you're not feeling the town's music, you can always change up the BGM by going to the minstrel. This will play the song you picked until you leave the town. If you forgot how the mechanics work, you can always check out the Coliseum, which has all the tutorials and even allows you to play a mock battle. Lastly, you can hop online with up to 4 people. You don't play through the main story, but you do get some online specific quests to tackle. I tried to find a game, but I couldn't find anyone to play with online. This is the first time the Neptune team has used a different engine, and it shows. The character models are much more bright, colorful, and detailed. Now while most of the dungeons are kind of meh design wise with only very few standing out, you do see that the graphical detail upgraded a whole lot. This looks like a game that was made with the PS4 in mind and not just an up-res PS3 game. We still have character stills for a large amount of the game's cutscenes, but as always they are nicely drawn and they have different stands to give off more emotion, and even some overhead signs to help. Though for some reason they got rid of the breathing in and out animation they tend to have. I'm guessing this is due to the brand new engine. There are a few moments that they do use the in-game engine for cutscenes, but it's really rare, and to be honest I'm kinda sad it is. For the few times I've seen it, it looked rather good, and I would love if their future games did this more. The voice work as always with these games is fantastic as they really give their all. I did hear about Noir's voice actress being replaced due to the voice actor strike, and while that sucks, the voice actor replacing her still does a fine job. If you're not a fan of the English cast, you can always change to the Japanese voiceover whenever you like.
It's completely new to me, and I have been looking very forward to the element of discovery in this game. An untouched land that stretches out as far as my eyes can see. Ah, I cannot wait!
These kinds of games are the most fun! We'll meet all sorts of new people, too!
I totally agree. The best part about being online is being able to make new friends.
I only play with close friends. But perhaps if I feel like it, maybe I'll try feeling other players in this game.
Performance wise, this game's frame rate does act up here and there. It can happen during combat and even during the character still cutscenes, which is just odd. It never gets too terrible to the point that it's unplayable, but it's obvious that the team still needs time to iron out some kinks with this engine. The game is good, even with its simple combat I still have fun mashing away. The story, while not deep, kept putting a smile on my face with its humor, and the characters are really likable, making you want to stick around for everything. I also like the fact that the team has really taken the next step with the series, and I hope they keep pushing. I was done with the main story around 22 hours in, and after that there's still some quests you can do for cleanup. Let's not forget there is online, though sadly unless you got a friend who has a game, the chance of finding a game to join is pretty slim. And then you got some of the frame rate issues. Even with its problems, if you are always interested in the series, this is not a bad spot to jump in. So come join our game industry goddesses online. You might find out that you don't want to log out. I hope you enjoy my thoughts on this game, and for gamers' sake, keep gaming.